What's going on, everyone? So Henry, for the first time, is in Fromville. Got an emotional scene with both Henry and Victor embracing each other. It was kind of one of those things where it was building up the anticipation. You see, it's like, oh man, are they actually going to embrace? Is Victor going to keep kind of running away? Henry's starting to have doubts, and he's like, I can understand why Victor wouldn't want to see me. And lo and behold, we end up having the just powerful moment of the two of them finally having that connection, and did a whole video breaking that down. So go check out that video after this video, of course. But what I want to talk about in this video is before the encounter with Victor, right? Henry and Ethan end up walking and kind of lead down this path to where Victor and Henry can meet with each other, which I thought was a very interesting kind of, you could almost look as symbolic in ways, right? Henry is Victor's father. Victor has been alone in this place for so long. And Ethan is Victor's best friend. And in many ways, kind of the new Victor, right? Like there seems to be a lot of connection. You look at like Miranda and Tabitha, right? Christopher and Jade. Now you have Victor and Ethan. And, Ethan's talked so much about this, the hero's journey and the story. And Ethan, whether it's directly or indirectly, it could just be potentially, the reason I say indirectly is because it could just be him potentially being sort of chosen in a way. You see a lot of these characters are kind of marked and have kind of information about the place even before they ever get to the place, right? Even people like Elgin, right? Having dreams and premonitions about, Fatima and her child and stuff, right? Like from the beginning, Ethan has talked about the hero's journey and, has said things that have kind of reigned true as the series has progressed. Again, whether it's directly like him actually having knowledge and he's just a child and just doesn't know how to process it, or it's just kind of indirectly in the sense of like he's saying stuff that's coming to mind that he doesn't really understand that it is actually kind of having some reality. But Ethan relays to Henry. He says, "Thank you for bringing my mom back." And Henry goes, I didn't have anything to do with it, right? And I disagree. I think Ethan, once again, was correct. So I made a video a while back diving into the likelihood that Tabitha was not meant to go to the real world to save the children, but was meant to go to the real world to bring back Henry. And I laid out all the kind of breadcrumbs that kind of make sense for that. But to kind of bring you up to speed on that, so Tabitha went to the lighthouse to free the children, the Kukui children, and then that was her mission, right? She's one of the chosen. The boy in white pushes her out and says, this is the only way. We have no idea, one, why the boy in white did that. Two, what do you mean is the only way? Like, does that mean that you have to, the boy in white is the way that he pushes you out, right? Like there's a lot of mystery with that. Also, Victor gives Tabitha his lunchbox with the address to his father, and is also the first thing that his father notices, and which opens the door for Tabitha. Also, the boy in white ends up appearing in the real world, leading Tabitha down the path that ultimately leads her to Henry. And a lot of people don't think that Victor has the know-with-all to basically plan that and execute it. I disagree, right? Like, we've seen Victor, even talking about his father, when he's sitting there talking to Sarah. And, he's like, no, he's not here for me. He's here for the 12-year-old boy or whatever, right? Like, he countlessly, on numerous occasions, has said things where he's processed, he understands. Like, yes, he has a very childlike mentality, but he's not just this, he's not oblivious. Like, he doesn't have this like cluelessness to him. He really does grasp and understand a lot. And more so than even some of the adult thinkers, right? And so I don't completely rule it out. However, it would also make sense that the boy in white, because we know that Victor and the boy in white communicate, that they have conversations, that they have dialogue. that the boy in white would kind of help Victor, and the boy in white would know kind of the path that Tabitha needs and why Victor getting his father back would be so important. So I could see the boy in white kind of working with Victor to help. And the boy in white was the one that told Victor to, instead of trying to bury all these bodies, keep all the mementos, right? Keep all the pieces of things that were important to the people, so that way you can unlock memories. And this entire season has been kind of building up, and even towards the end of last season, have been building up to Victor unlocking key memories, unlocking things to try to help and save the people currently in Fromville, right? Because Victor has basically suppressed and locked away all of the past memories, and some of these could end up being very detrimental and important to the town, right? So it would make sense that, hey, how do we unlock Victor? Well, the best person to do that would be his father. Now, obviously, Victor knows more about this place and lived and grew up in this place. And, him and Tabitha have even worked together, and Tabitha has kind of helped to unlock some memories for Victor, as we saw in the previous season. And Victor's kind of on his own journey and his own quest right now. But Victor's father knows a lot of details about Fromville. Not really directly, because he wasn't there until just now, but even when you see him walking around, it's almost like he has this form of familiarity. Why? Because of his wife, Miranda. Miranda used to tell him. That's how he had so much information. That's how he was able to tell Tabitha. Yes, I don't think he's the expert. I don't think he's going to be the one that has the answers to get everybody free. Nothing like that. But I do think that he'll have information through Miranda, the art and all the stuff that he has just had to watch over and see over and over and over again, for 30 plus years. I think he'll be able to relay some of those things to Victor to help Victor kind of awaken certain key elements, or maybe even remember places he needs to go, or where things are buried and all that, right? Like, I think Henry is going to have a purpose. I don't think he's going to just be a background character. I don't think he's just going to be somebody that's just, oh yeah, it's a great idea to have Victor's father in it, and then he can just kind of be sprinkled in throughout. No, I think he will probably be sprinkled in throughout, but I think it'll be purposeful. I think Victor, Tabitha are both going to benefit from Henry. Maybe even Boyd, right? Henry has information. How valuable is that information? We're going to find out. But he knows things. Again, Miranda essentially could remote view this place, right? Like, she could see every detail of the town. Colony House, like the apparition of the soldier, right? The boy in white. Like, she saw things that weren't just like, it's almost like she was there before she was there, and very detailed. So Henry, you got to imagine, has some detailed information that now him being there in Fromville with Tabitha, with Victor, Jade, that's another person that maybe could get some information, as well as Boyd. You can see Henry potentially having some real impact on just members of the town and kind of our key players here. Now, again, I'm not saying that Henry's going to have all of the answers and he's just going to be like, oh yeah, you just need to go here. No, but I think it'll kind of be, like little pieces to the puzzle that get the puzzle started, right? Like, oh, well, Miranda used to say this. And then that, I do remember my mother saying that. And then that triggers boom, 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 right? Kind of sends a ping firing off all these other thoughts about just Miranda and Victor and the things that he needs to unlock, the things that he needs to get. I do think that Tabitha's journey was for Victor. I think Tabitha's purpose in going through the bottle tree and getting to the lighthouse was to bring Henry back for Victor, right? We see with these faraway trees, yeah, it could take you, as we saw with Dale, right? Embedded into the pool. But if you're one of the chosens, Like if you're one of the people that have a purpose and are supposed to go to a specific place, right? Even Victor relayed this in season 1, right? The faraway trees and stuff about like, you never really know where you're going to end up, but it will usually take you where you need to go if you're somebody that is meant to go somewhere. Somebody like Dale, he wasn't meant to go anywhere, so he ended up meeting his end. But we saw Boyd go through it, and Boyd ends up in a dungeon that he needed to be there. He needed to unlock to be able to save who was needed to save, Julie and Randall and Marielle, right? Like, save those people. So there was purpose. Same thing with Tabitha, right? Her purpose, she thought, was to save the children, which at some point she may have to do. But I think that will even be a collective effort with Jade, right? Her purpose was to go and bring back Henry. Also, Tabitha comes back when her and Henry are basically stationary, right? We don't know. So they were on their way to the bottle tree. We don't know if they would have ended up in Fromville if it was just 2 of them. Well, they get in the car wreck, and then they get in the ambulance, and then they end up in Fromville, right? So now you got all these other people that became casualties because they were in there. Or Fromville knew that was going to happen, right? That Tabitha would kind of lose her mind and, think she was back. But point is that so if the boy in white can get you out, couldn't the boy in white be able to get you back? Is kind of what I'm getting to, right? Like, the boy in white is who got Tabitha out, led her on a path to find Henry, and now Tabitha and Henry are together in a car driving to this tree and then end up in Fromville. Yes, they end up getting that car accident, end up in the ambulance, but I think that even no matter what, they were going to end up in Fromville, and I think that the boy in white probably was a big part and reason to that, rather than it being Fromville bringing them back. Also, Tabitha was essentially dead to rights, right? Like, so she never would have been able to do what she needed to do if she had another purpose, right? She was stuck in the ambulance with the cop who were trying to, figure out who she was. They were not just going to let her leave, right? Like she ran out of the hospital room. She's been missing for some time, right? Like, her journey was done. And you could look at it, okay, well, her journey was done because, she would have been sitting in a jail cell until they figured out who she was and all that stuff. Or her journey was done because she found Henry. And she had Henry, and her and Henry were on their way to Fromville. So, journey's over. Because Henry is needed for Victor, so Victor can unlock the memories necessary to help kind of solve the town, right? I believed Tabitha's journey was to go get Henry before the previous episode. After the previous episode, I just felt like it was either further confirmation that, like, hey, that was the case, right? I think Ethan kind of saying, like, hey, because even Tabitha says, right? Tabitha says, I'm here for you. And then he goes, no, you're here for what's in the basement. But Tabitha, again, is the chosen one. Her instincts told her she was there for him, right? So you have now multiple dialogue from multiple people all tied to Tabitha, right? With Ethan, that have now both said he was the mission. He was the retcon mission that you were supposed to go and bring him back, and you did. So, anyway, as always, this is a discussion. Pass a question on you. Let me know your thoughts and opinions down in the comments below. What do you think? How do you feel? What are your thoughts? Do you agree with my points? Disagree with my points? You kind of mixed in the middle? Again, however you feel. Whatever your thoughts are, I love to hear it. So let me know down in the comments below. That being said, if you haven't liked this video, hit that like button. Helps me a lot. Lets me enjoy these types of videos, and I truly appreciate it. Not subscribe to the channel, hit that subscribe button. Turn on the bell notifications. Appreciate y'all. See you in the next one. Thank you.